Krunk crew, come on through. What it do? Krunk crew. What's up, guys? My name's Kyle Krunk. I'm your host. This is the Krunk Crew Debrief, episode number 7, recorded on January 7th of 2020. Hello. With that, I will start off the podcast with an apology. I'm recording this a day later than I'm supposed to be, and that's my fault. I'm sorry. First podcast of 2020, and I'm already messing it up this year by recording one late. I'll blame that on that pre-start anxiety that I've talked to you guys about. Something about it, like it's 1:35 a.m. and I've been sitting here ready to record this podcast since midnight, 12. And I don't know. Here we are recording it now. I'm fine now. I have more anxiety thinking about the start anxiety than I do now recording this podcast. So that's what's like so frustrating. It's so frustrating for me because I know that once I'm here right now, past the point of no return, I've already hit record. I'm fine. I have no reason to have all this anxiety before I start it, but I just do. I need to figure something out. Figure out a way to just nut up. Nut up or shut up. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. First podcast of 2020. And, there's 51 more episodes this year. Hope you guys are going to be along for the ride for all of them. If you're new to the series and you haven't watched any of the previous episodes, I highly recommend you do. I won't say these are all chronological, but I will say these first 10 episodes are probably going to be pretty big, just because it gives you kind of an idea of who I am and kind of where I come from, some of the things that I deal with, and maybe just a little bit about the person that I am. So, if you want to stick around for more, if maybe some of the things I say you can relate to. A lot of people that listen to this podcast, I've talked to, and they say that they can relate to a lot of the things that I talk about, because maybe either we were raised at the same time, we grew up in the same era, or whatever the case may be. But I hope that everybody can find something they can relate to in this podcast, because we're all in this together. The one thing I think about a lot, and I hadn't really intended on talking about this, but it's something that just come up in my mind because it's going to be a nice segue into the next topic. But if you think about it, say an alien threat, an alien force, an outer worldly, off-Earth threat, give it a name, whatever you want it to be, whether it's an alien, whether it's an asteroid, blah, 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 name it something, right? If that was coming to destroy Earth and we had 20 days, we would all come together as a people against Earth. Or against Earth, to the protection of Earth, against whatever the threat may be. To put this in an analogy of a realistic situation, think of 9/12/2001, the day after 9/11 happened. A lot of people always cite this day and talk about it a lot. We were so close as a country, as a people. Even like the world was like, a lot of the world was like together. People outside of the US are like, holy shit, like, we need to band together. These are going to be tough times. We need to be strong. We need to support each other. And it sucks that it takes such provocation or such destruction or tragedy or something so shattering to so many people's lives for us to get that mentality that we're all just fucking people just trying to get by and we want to make it. But I can only hope that going forward in in the future we start to adopt that mindset more and more, whether it be as a nation, as a country, as a people, as a race, whatever, we all need to get closer, because this next 10 years, this next decade, by 2030, there's gonna be some crazy shit that goes down. People are already worried about World War III, which is the segue I mentioned before and what we're going to talk about next. People are already worried about World War III, and we're not even a month into the decade. This decade is going to bring a lot of innovation in technology. I believe it's going to bring a lot of innovation in health, whether it be through like stem cells, whatever. The health field and the technology fields, I think, are going to make huge leaps and bounds during this decade. But I hope we make progress towards peace more than anything this decade. The last 10 years, we have had a presence in other countries in a military fashion. And we need to be closer. We need to be closer to one another. I don't know. That's just the whole beginning segment of this is we need to love each other more. We need to get away from this toxic mentality that we've talked about before. We need to get away from this culture where we just want to cancel everybody or make their lives ruined because whatever reason. People, I watch a lot of, like, I've talked in the past, like cringe compilations, stuff like that, but I also watch like freak out compilations, stuff like that on YouTube, where like people just seem to want to have an excuse for drama, whether it be to record it for their own entertainment, for whatever reason. It's like that's the end goal for so many people, is they just want drama, and it's ridiculous that we kind of get baited and allow ourselves to get put in that situation. But I think we would be just so much better off if we stopped wanting that to be the goal, like wanting there to be an instant, like, and then once there is an instant, people want to record it and spread it, and then that triggers other people to want to record it and spread it, and like you see so many incidences where something's happening and there's only like one person helping and the other person's the one recording. And I want us to find that healthy balance with the technology and with all the things where it's like we're not so addicted to our phones that we'd rather hold our phone up and record something than help somebody in need. And I myself, kind of in that direction not too long ago. I stopped really using Facebook altogether. It was just, I realized that literally the only thing that ever came out of Facebook, outside of like finding videos that were funny and stuff like that, was drama and people trying to be upset about this or that. And I want to no more participation in that. I didn't want to part in that anymore. If you guys listened to the last podcast, somebody from the Marine Corps had commented on something. Actually, hold up. We're gonna pause right there. We'll get back to this story because this is something I wanted to talk about more. Let's talk a little bit more about what I was saying before with World War III. If you guys don't know, earlier this week, the U.S. Had a targeted airstrike, and let me get the exact information and names. So we did a
Grove makes my life better in a lot of ways.
Okay, this is awkward. I of course I pull up a news site and they're gonna have an ad. I apologize to anybody that's listening to this audio only and is gonna have that loud in your ears noise. But back to the subject, back to what we're talking about. The U.S. had an airstrike earlier in the week, and what happened was we killed the head of Iran's elite Quds. That's Quds, Quds military force, and one of the most powerful figures in the Islamic Republic. His name is, I might say this wrong, Qasim Soleimani, whatever. I apologize if I said that wrong. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but I'm just trying to get this quick and clean out there. This airstrike was in Baghdad, and he was killed at, I believe, like an air base or something. But TLDR, a lot of people are thinking that Iran might retaliate back. Iran has the capabilities, I believe, nuclear capabilities, and just overall intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM capabilities to hit anywhere in the U.S. that they'd like. Which brings me back to what I was saying before, us getting closer. Like, no bullshit, realistically, no bullshit, whether it be tomorrow, whether it be in 5 years, whether it be in 10 years. Whether it even be man-made, whether it be war, whether it be Mother Nature. Our time on this earth is not guaranteed. I could be in the middle of this podcast right now, and a nuclear missile could go off, and you guys could never hear this. A nuclear bomb could go off wherever and destroy half the U.S., and then I'd be recording, there'd be a bright flash, this would all get destroyed, it'd be deleted, everything that I had said so far would never get heard. There's a universe out there, a multiverse out there where that has occurred. And we're not going to go into multiverses and infinite possibilities, but what we are going to go into is our time isn't guaranteed. Anything could happen any day, any time. Tomorrow that could happen. Tomorrow a Yellowstone National Park, which if you guys don't know is considered a Calderon volcano, which pretty much means it's a huge volcano that thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago exploded so violently that it blew off the entire top part of the volcano, leaving nothing but pretty much, imagine a tree being cut by everything but the trunk. And that's what you got left of the volcano, is just the trunk of the volcano, but it's still a volcano. And it could at any point explode again. It is actually probably due within the next 100,000 years for that to happen, and it is considered a continent killer. It will blow up the entire continent, and that could happen tomorrow. Again, that could happen while I'm talking right now. And stuff like this is possible. Stuff like this is out of our control. So love today, because you might not have the chance tomorrow. Instead of having that moment of anger and frustration, just pause for a second. A really good friend of mine I saw recently was playing a game and getting frustrated, and every time he'd get frustrated, he'd be like, man, this is stupid. Whatever the case may be, this person is this. And then he'd pause for a second, and then he'd say, well, maybe I could do this. And I've never seen, not just in this game, just in a person in general, I've never seen someone actually investigate themselves as well as this person does, where they actually stop for a second and they think. Every time they get frustrated, they always kind of play the devil's advocate to themselves. That's awesome, because instead of just living with that initial reaction that person has, that he has, instead of just being frustrated, and that's that's it. I got my frustrations out. I'm good. I don't need to put any more thought or effort into this. He goes that extra step every time and he plays devil's advocate and he goes, well, maybe this is the case actually. And I think because of that, it has made him such a very well-rounded person. I think it shows because a lot of people seem to gravitate towards this individual. And, I think that's something that we can all learn from is if we can all just play a little bit more devil's advocate, and it's something I've talked about in the past where, like, it's kind of like agreeing to disagree in an argument with somebody else, but doing it with yourself. It's like saying, well, this is the reason I think this, and then you say, well, maybe it's not. Maybe this is the reason. It's conversating, communicating, and just trying to further the intellectual thought process or dialogue with either oneself or another person to make everybody better and happier. And that's something very easy to do with other people, but to do with yourself is a very tough task. It's very tough to be honest and open with yourself, especially if you are either around or talking to other people that they can see. It's very, very tough to just take that second to think and not just because even like for myself, for example, if I make a mistake or if I get frustrated about something, I feel like a lot of times I'll get frustrated, and instead of taking that second to think, well, why am I frustrated? Maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. I'll just be like, oh, I don't want to be frustrated. Let's just move on. Well, that's a good thing that I move on and I don't stay focused on the frustration. I think if I took that extra step before that to play devil's advocate and be like, well, maybe I shouldn't be frustrated because of this, you know, I think that would help me be a better person. So I think in the next week or so, I'm going to try to make that a goal with myself is just to try to be more of a devil's advocate to myself, especially in times of negativity, anger, sadness, all that. And I'm hoping that it helps me grow. And we'll see. We'll talk next week about it and see what I have to say. But I think if we all make individual efforts to make ourselves better people, then what we started this whole discussion with will be a much more attainable goal, and that's just ELE. Everybody love everybody. I love the scene from a movie called Semi Pro. If you've never seen it, it is a Will Ferrell movie. It's also got what's his name? It's gonna bug me. I can't think of it. It's gonna bug me. I can just here we go. What's his name? Semi-pro Woody Harrelson. Gosh, I couldn't think of his name. Woody Harrelson in it. Andre 3000 isn't it? It's got a lot. It's got a great cast. It's a great movie. But at one point, they're riding on a bus to a game, and they're arguing in the back of the bus. And Will Ferrell stands up and goes, "One rule. What I tell everybody. One rule. ELE. What is it?" And everybody says, "Everybody love everybody." He's like, "That's right. Everybody love everybody. ELE." And that movie's a really funny movie if you've never watched it. It's a goofy, silly movie, but it's funny. And yeah, ELE, man. Everybody love everybody. You know, let's try to lift each other up this year, this decade. And if we cut out all this negativity with where we're going and advances in technology and all that other stuff, with how advanced and capable we are as a species, if we cut out all this negative bullshit, we can soar to like the greatest heights. And it's just so crazy to see ourselves hold each other back and hold ourselves back. Just in general, like a blanket, or everyone's holding each other back because of that. And hopefully we can just be smarter about it, and we'll see a change in that here soon, you know? So hopefully it wasn't bugging you and you're not the type of person that when I say I'll talk about that later, it bugs you until they talk about it. But we're going to talk about it later. When I was talking about Facebook, I stopped using Facebook kind of moving away from social media because like I said, every time I was getting on it, it seemed like the only memorable experiences were negative ones. And for example, if you listen to last week's podcast, I had a story time, and you heard the story time about Will, Kyle one, all of that. Well, there was a post in a group for my old battalion about Will, uh, and I just remember posting in there. It makes me wonder, which I said in the podcast, it makes me wonder, what kind of stuff did Kyle one know about Will and his ex-wife's relationship before he had committed suicide. And I actually got a message from one of my friend's wives who talked to me and said her thoughts, and she had a lot of inside knowledge. I'm not going to disclose, any more information on that because I don't want anyone to be able to single out this person. But another interaction I had though was somebody saying, "Yeah, but a lot of you a lot of you MFs still were friends with him after," and then he put like a this emoji or whatever, right? Or something like that. And this actual specific individual, right? Um he's making the story, not story time. He's making the rounds this week because this person, actually, I tried to like add them back when I used Facebook when I first got out of the Marine Corps back in 2015 or whatever. I tried to add them and they never, I guess, accepted it. And then like 2 or 3, even 4 years, about 3 years went by, and I never noticed they never accepted it until they had commented on somebody else's thing that I knew from the Marine Corps. And I was like, oh wait. I clicked on it and I saw that they still had a pending friend request. So it's like they purposely, I canceled the friend request and resent it, like, oh, maybe they never saw it. And they still didn't accept it. So now at this point, when they didn't accept it, and as time goes on, I know that they're purposely not accepting it. And then they have this interaction, and I can just tell this person views me negatively, and that's okay. Because I'm sure a lot of people view me negatively, because that's one of the things I wanted to talk about this week is we're going to go through periods in our life. One thing I'm struggling to deal with now, which, with effort won't be an issue in the future because you can always improve, right? But one thing I'm struggling to deal with now is the comprehending that some people will move in and out of your life, and just for that time that they're in your life, whether it may be a good time or a bad time, they're going to take that snapshot of what they've learned and how they view you, and for the rest of their life they may view you that way. This individual saying this, well, a lot of you guys were still friends with this a lot of you MFs were still friends with him after the incident, after Kyle killed himself. Well, one thing, a lot of us weren't friends and we wanted to actually beat his fucking ass, but we actually got a direct order from someone above that said, yo, you guys can't keep doing this bullshit where you're not fucking talking to him, you're not interacting with him, no one's gonna do anything to him. You guys already lost one brother over this situation, don't lose another. We actually got like a direct order not to like do anything that would be considered a retaliation. So it's not that we were friends, but it was just like I didn't ignore his existence after that, but I wasn't like homies hugging him, best friends, whatever the case may be. But it made me think about this individual. And I guess they're forever going to view me negatively because of how they viewed me during my time in the Marine Corps. And I completely understand that. I was kind of a whiny shit and a bitch during some, if not all, of my time in the Marine Corps. I was a lot younger. I was unhappy. I was dealing with a lot of the issues we've talked about in the previous episodes, such as feeling like, it's everybody against you. And I don't know. One thing, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it now because it's something I think about a lot. I've always struggled with I don't know if it's I don't think it's considered self-esteem, but I've always struggled with feeling. I have talked about part of this, feeling like the annoying kid because of my ADHD. I was always hyperactive, and then for a long time, I was the annoying kid as a very child, and then even into maybe early teenage years, whatever. But I've always been extra sensitive to feeling like I'm that annoying kid. But even outside of that, once I got in the Marine Corps, I feel like I always give someone, even when I'm trying to be like, even when I tell myself, I'm going to be different, I'm going to shut up more. I guess I always end up still being me and who I am, a person that I guess says what's on their mind and says what they think. And some people don't like that. And some people just want you to shut up. And maybe I've said stupid things that made people just view me negatively, whatever. But I feel like I always end up making people dislike me for one reason or another eventually. And there's always like a certain group or set of people that like just don't care for me. I saw it through high school, I saw it through the Marine Corps. And I just don't know what it is. I don't know if there's something wrong with me. I don't know if there's something very unlikable about me. I don't know if maybe they didn't get to know me very well as a person and they only got to see the bad side of me. Or maybe I only presented a bad side. Yeah, I don't know. Um I can say, looking back on my time in the Marine Corps, that I definitely don't blame a lot of people for not liking me. A lot of my time was spent either bitching about stupid stuff we had to do, which for me, it's not like, A, when I bitch about something, it makes me feel better about it. It makes it more tolerable to me. Like, hey, if I can bitch, like, I actually happily do a lot of stupid stuff all the time, just knowing that I could bitch about it. Like, this ain't so bad, but as long as I can be like, fuck this, I'd rather be doing that. I don't know. I guess as long as I can talk my shit on it, I'm fine. And yeah, I did try to skate out of some things that I didn't want to do because that's just what people do in the Marine Corps. Um, but for one reason or another, I made some of these people just really, really not like me. And I've always done that to some people. And yeah, I mean, everyone's gonna say you can't make everyone happy. You can't make everyone like you. Yeah, that's not what I expect. Um, but I also don't. I think it's possible to not make anyone like really dislike you, which is the case for me. Is I have some people out there that just really dislike me, and that sucks because I feel like I'm not a bad dude. Um, I feel like if once people got to know me, they know that I just want what's best for everyone. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to meet their dreams and goals. And if there's ever anything in my power that I can do to help others, but I'm always about that. And I don't know. For someone like me that wants to see others do well and wants to see myself do well, it's hard. There are people out there that I don't like too, but it's hard to see how I don't know. It's like a mind paradox because like yeah, everybody has people they don't like, right? But at the same time, I don't know. I guess it's just like a self-reflection thing. When you're confronted with somebody that you know that doesn't like you, it makes you self-reflect. I mean, you don't know why they don't like you. It kind of like bugs you a lot, which I told you last week we were going to do story time. So I'll tell you this week we'll start story time. This may not be a very long story, but this is a perfect segue into it. I had a Marine who I looked up to. I don't know why, but he was an NCO. He was a pretty good guy. He was pretty funny. I knew that when it came down to it, he knew his shit and he got stuff done. He wasn't even in my section, but he was a little bit older. I don't know. There's just certain people that you don't know why, but you kind of gravitate towards them and you look up to them for whatever reason. Well, we were in Afghanistan, and this guy, he just kind of wasn't talking to me for whatever reason, and kind of like purposely ignoring me. And it would be like I sit down in the smoke pit, and he'd get up and walk away. And I'd sit down in the smoke pit, and he'd get up and walk away. And then there was one time where it was like a super awkward situation. We were both sitting out in the smoke pit. Nobody was really saying much. I think I tried to make small talk, and he didn't really answer. And then he went up to walk, or I was done smoking, and then I went up to walk away, and he was still just sitting there, I guess. And then I was like, "Hey, can I ask you a question for a second?" And he was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "What did I do to make you not like me?" And this is a very hard situation for me because, like I said a minute ago, it's very hard to confront somebody not liking you. Because before you can even confront them, you do a lot of self reflection. Like, what did I do to make this person fucking like really not like me? And this person like always gave me this look like he fucking wanted me dead. And which was weird because, like I said, for some reason I kind of looked up to him in his position in the Marine Corps and just the things he had done. And I don't know. And I got to that moment and I had been sitting there thinking about it the whole time. I had thought about it before, like asked him, like just getting it over with so I could just move on. And I just did it that day. I was like, I got up before I walked away. I said, "What did I do to make you hate me so much? Why do you not like me?" He actually said some of the things that I explained before about myself. He said, "You want to know why? Because all you do is bitch." Um, he said a bunch of things. I'm not going to go into exactly what he said. Um, but he said, "All you do is bitch," which I've always admitted. Hey, listen, I'm kind of a complainer. There's some people out there that just complain, and I'm one of those people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it bugs you. I'm sorry if it's something that you don't like, but it makes me cope with the things that are bad in my life a little bit better if I can just complain about it a little bit. I don't know. It's something I've gotten better with, I think, with age. But when I was younger, it especially was a problem of mine. Um, but I mean, 9 out of 10 dudes would bitch about half the things you have to do in the Marine Corps. I just would, I guess, do it a little bit more than others. But that was one of the things he said. He said a bunch of things to me, but the whole point of this story time was kind of because it's like full circle into where I've been at lately and where I'm at actually in the middle of this podcast right now talking to you, which is a point of self reflection. We come across these moments, and he had said all his pieces. He said this. He kind of listed out the reasons he didn't like me, and I said, "Okay, hey, I respect that. I apologize that you feel that way. I'm going to try to do better as a person to not make you feel that way. And I can definitely see why you feel that way. And I saw my own faults in what he said. I said, hey, I'm going to try to do better going on. I'd like to try to earn your respect. I'd like for you to not fucking hate me with everything because we have to fucking work together. And we're out here in Afghanistan and this is what it is. And, it would suck to feel like you don't have the people that are closest to you there to support you or whatever. Um, which this guy, this is gonna take a dark turn right here. Uh, heads up, buckle in. Um, this was happening. This, like I said, was a big point of reflection for me in my life, and especially in Afghanistan at that point because like I said, I always had this issue where I got people to not like me for some reason. And I even had somebody, I'm not going to say who he was or what his position was, but I had somebody that was in the Marine Corps that was pretty influential to like my day-to-day life, in one way or another, whether I wanted it to be that way or not. But and I didn't even hear this myself. I heard somebody else heard him say this to another Marine and then told me about it. So I was never intended to hear this, right? But you have your moments in Afghanistan and you have your moments in life. And at the point in Afghanistan, I guess that I had expressed to some people that I had thoughts of not wanting to continue living. Before the Marine Corps, I had lost or not the Marine Corps, before the deployment. You guys had heard last week on the story time, I lost a good friend in Kyle 1 to suicide during the deployment. I was working my ass off day to day, feeling like I was grinding and going nowhere. And it was just, I was in a dark place. I was young, and I don't know. I feel like, and this is just probably me being a fucking crazy person talking, I feel like everybody's thought about what it would be like. I feel like everybody's thought about suicide at some point, right? I don't want you guys that are listening to ever be concerned about me. I'm not suicidal. I never have or never will, I think, have the balls to ever hurt myself, and don't even intend or want that or any of that. Whatever. Don't go that line of thinking. I just have to throw that warning out there before I get 100 messages like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay?" I don't want that. That's not what this is. But I think we're fucking lying to ourselves if people don't say that they don't have suicidal thoughts. I feel like suicidal thoughts are a lot more common than people like to admit. Like, suicidal thoughts, at least in a lot of the people that I've talked to throughout my time in the Marine Corps, throughout my time after the Marine Corps and stuff, suicidal thoughts are a lot more common than people tend to want to admit. Now, suicidal tendencies, suicidal attempts, suicidal, all that kind of stuff, that's a different story. But you're fucking lying to me if you're telling me that there hasn't been really tough times in your life when you just thought, man, it would be easier to not fucking wake up tomorrow than it would be to deal with all this shit, you know? And I was going through one of those times, and obviously they never took it like very serious in the Marine Corps, because if they would have taken it very serious when I was in Afghanistan, the first thing they would have done would have been take my loaded weapon away from me. But I guess they had heard it in a passing comment, like, "Man, this is fucking stupid. I want to kill myself." You know, whatever. However they heard it, but what I got relayed back to me was, good. I hope he does kill himself. That way I can tell his wife what a big piece of shit he is at his funeral. And that is something that has stuck with me for a long time. It took me a very long time to get over it. It took me even probably like a year after the deployment, telling like that person, like, "Hey, this still fucks with me to this day." And even having that person apologize to me, which the person that said this did apologize to me. He was going through a very fucking rough time in his life as well. He explained some things to me, apologized to me, but regardless, he still fucking said it. Me and this person are good now, whatever. But just to have somebody say that, and then to have where the story time started, where I had to stop and have this huge moment of reflection and be like, "Hey, stop and ask somebody else, why don't you fucking like me?" And I think we all have these moments of reflection in our life. I've been going through one lately, wondering how I want to be as a person going forward in life, and what things I can do about myself to just make friendship, or just to make me as a person from the outside viewing me a more attractive person, personality wise, not looks or any of that. I just want my personality to be more attractive to anybody that looks at me, and I want to start stripping away more of the negatives that I can, because I want to be a good person, and like I said, I have a huge goal in wanting to help other people. So if I can help, if you don't have the type of personality or the type of aura vibe around you that wants to draw other people in, you're not gonna have anybody to help, you know. So I don't know. It's just been like you guys know, ever since I turned 29, this is my last year of the 20s, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go down that road every time we talk about it, but I'm trying to be a healthier person, and that's inside and out. Speaking of which, tomorrow I'm actually going to the gym to finally sign up for those jiu-jitsu classes we talked about. So I'll be telling you guys about that next week when we come back, what the prices are on those, and that's what we're going tomorrow to find out the pricing, right? And then we're seeing if there's like a family plan, but apparently I can do like whatever kind of classes I want. It's not just limited to BJJ. I can do whatever classes I want, whether it be kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, whatever, throughout the year. So that'll be pretty cool. We'll see where this journey goes. But to cap off what this all was talking about, the story time, all that, there's people that are going to be only in your life for a certain period of time, and however you act, and they're going to view the people that don't like me from the Marine Corps are probably never going to like me the rest of my life. Their whole life they're going to view me the way they view me because of my actions of when I was like 23, 22, whatever the case may be, right? And knowing that now, it makes me want to just become a better person, so that if somebody only has a short snapshot of me and they depart my life for whatever reason, then at least they'll leave thinking of me more true to who I am and my character than they did than some of the people that from my past that like may not like me because they think I'm a shitty person, because I'm not that same person, you know. And maybe I just have a desire to want people to, maybe I have to like go burn those bridges. I don't want to I don't actually want to do that. Like, this person, I don't have like a actual longing to have a friendship with them, you know. But like, I don't know. It's kind of like you want you want people that have seen you in a worse place in your life to see like, hey, I'm better now, you know. I guess maybe it's that. Um, Getting better is a mindset. It's not a goal. It's not an objective. It's not a New Year's resolution. It's a mindset. You have to have the mindset to want to get. It has to be something you think about all the time. It has to be something that is on your mind so that you can introvertly look at yourself when it's not the easiest thing to do. And that's my mindset now. My mindset going. We hope it helps me improve to become a better person. One thing I've been struggling with lately, it's kind of why I was late here today, and I've been struggling with it on stream, and I struggle with it even in the middle of these recordings, which, if you guys have all seen, have always all been one take, no edits, none of that shit. We sit down, I hit record, and we talk until I'm done talking, and then I see you fucking next week. What's up? But one thing I have a struggle with having ADHD is I fall into these mental rabbit holes. If you ever like get into like those deep dark corners of YouTube, because like you start on one video and then like 40 videos later you're looking at somebody trying to discuss if honeybees have nipples or not, and you're like, wait, that's an insect. Do insects have nipples? Wait, no, they don't, because they don't have milk. There's no such thing as insect. Yeah, right. You're like, how did I even get here? How did I get on bee nipples? Why am I talking about bee nipple? It's weird, right? You get to those weird dark rabbit holes. The same thing happens for me with my own mind and my thoughts. Like earlier today, I was streaming, and my finger kind of hurts a little bit from where my dog had bit. Was trying to get like a toy, like got a little nip on my pinky and got a little. It's not bad or whatever, but I was in the middle of streaming and it was hurting, and just it hurting caused me to think about, man, that hurts. What, and then it made me think about what happened to make it hurt. Well, that, yeah, she bit it, and I remembered, and then I thought about what if she was like just trying to go for her toy and went full power, like, ah, as hard as what if today the tip of my pinky got bit off? I wouldn't be here streaming. I'd be at the doctor. Like, I'd be tipless on my pinky. And then I was like, I put my hand down on my mouse and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I could probably still go without the tip of my pinky, right? I'm still good. It's not that big of a deal. And it's like, I had this huge whole mental mind loop rabbit hole that I went down in the middle of the stream, and I'm just sitting there kind of silent. And if you're from the outside watching in, you're just like, okay, this guy's fucking weird. He's just like, but really in my head, I am weird, and I'm thinking about what if my dog bit off the tip of my finger. It's just so weird to have these things happen where you can just be in the middle of like trying to talk or play a game or entertain people and just disappear into like your own mind and just be like over weird, useless shit all at the same time that you're doing something else. And I've been struggling with those a lot lately. So if you ever see me do it here on stream, or I sit here on stream, here on the podcast. See, I'm all over the place. Forgive me. It's 2:21 in the morning. It's been a long podcast. If you ever see me do it, forgive me, especially here on the podcast, because I don't know what I'm going to talk about ahead of times, and some of the times I want to just like stop myself because I don't want to go down certain roads, or I don't want people to think certain things. I don't know. Sometimes I literally am recording these and think, should I even post them? Especially like with like the talk earlier where it was like, I don't want any of you guys to think I'm gonna want to hurt myself or anything like that. That's not the case. And if any of you come up to me like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'll hate you, because don't do that. I don't need I'm fine. Now you guys are gonna do it, just be assholes. Fuck. I don't know what to do. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to talk about this week. I hope you guys have all had a great week. Pretty much all of this week is just get better. We're all gonna get better. Let's just get better. Get better. Whatever. I will see you guys tomorrow. If you don't already follow me on Twitch, do so now. Twitch.tv/Kyle Krunk. I'm there pretty much a lot of the days that you are awake in your life. You can find me there playing video games. Or if not, I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast. But that's gonna be it for me. Long episode this week. Hope it wasn't weird for you. I feel like it's kind of weird for me. I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm fine. The whole moral of it is I'm in a mindset that I want to get better in life. I know we talked about some dark things, but don't ever worry about me. If there was a problem, you wouldn't be getting the podcast in the first place. You know what I mean? I'm out of here. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Make sure you do all the things that make the video happy, like, subscribe, all that shit. Bye. I love you. Everyone go buy an I'm Hermie jersey.